You know, it's an amazing feeling when you turn off a state road into the entrance of the Jesuit retreat house. And almost immediately you can feel your heart rate starting to slow down as you wind your way through the woods and come back to this incredible, peaceful oasis in the middle of the city.
The longer you're on the drive leading back here, the more you sort of feel yourself letting go and putting whatever's going on in your life behind you.
Just the drive in here alone creates a matter of peace and quiet and solace to your inner self.
And there is something magical, sacred that happens. It's clearly a feeling of peace.
It's been called an oasis in the midst of a bustling city and hectic lives, a place of renewal for the spirit and the mind, where one can find peace, serenity, and inner calm. Since 1898, the Jesuit Retreat House has helped people find spiritual renewal and new beginnings in this journey called life. Now, over 7,000 people a year, people of all ages, backgrounds, and religious denominations, make the journey to the Jesuit Retreat House to discover a life-changing experience. Located on 57 beautiful acres in Parma, Ohio, the Jesuit Retreat House is a hidden jewel located just minutes away from major highways and downtown Cleveland. For those who find it, the time spent is very personal and moving. The Jesuit Retreat House is administered by members of the Society of Jesus of the Catholic Church, but programs here are for all that come through our doors. Throughout our long history, the Jesuit Retreat House has worked to live out the gospel by providing the best atmosphere possible for people to spend some time with God and build a relationship with Him, to experience the soul-healing power of quiet, solitude, and personal reflection. Father Clem Metzger is the director of the Jesuit Retreat House.
Well, we are convinced that when a person has made a retreat here, he or she leaves a better person. A change takes place interiorly in the mind and the heart of the person, gives them new confidence in their own abilities as well as their ability to go out and make life better for other people. It's a spiritual renewal, and it touches the heart. And I'm convinced that the Spirit of God works in people and makes them aware of new possibilities that they hadn't thought of or dreamed of. And so they feel good about not only themselves, but about what they can do to make their life better, make the world better, but people better.
Our programs serve all of God's people and include programs for the homeless, AA men and women, and students and adults seeking spiritual awakening. In addition, the Jesuit Retreat House will embark on a new role as a Center for Ignatian Spirituality and Leadership in Northeast Ohio. In the face of declining Jesuit manpower, the Center for Ignatian Spirituality and Leadership will be an institution dedicated to the formation and development of lay apostolic leadership. The Jesuit Retreat House recognizes the need to develop Ignatian partners who understand, embrace, and practice the spirituality of St. Ignatius. As a result, JRH has established a restricted fund to enhance lay leadership. This fund will be used to provide retreats, seminars, and other programs that introduce new and current colleagues to the spirituality of St. Ignatius, develop teams that will provide leadership programming in parishes and other communities, develop high-quality workshops for spiritual directors and directors in training, and provide more opportunities for Ignatian partners to make the full spiritual exercises or shorter adaptations as well as to receive spiritual direction. What is the need for developing lay leaders through Ignatian spirituality?
Over the next 15 or so years, the number of clergy Jesuits will decline by 50%. And so we've been hearing the call for over a decade that I'm aware of from the provincial and the Jesuits to tell us that we need to prepare for the day when we have lay presidents at our institutions, at our high schools, at our universities, and we need to, as boards, lay leaders, we need to make sure that we provide men and women who are able to take on that responsibility. And so I think this programming to enhance lay leadership is right on point, and it's not too soon.
What will the programming accomplish?
This program would potentially allow hundreds of people, thousands of people in the Cleveland, Northeast Ohio region exposure to Ignatian spirituality.
What type of programming is offered?
But I think with a fund to enhance lay leadership, we really want to focus on board members, lay leaders in the community, and enhance them personally. We want to enhance the lay leaders so that they understand Ignatian spirituality, so that they embrace it, and that they are formed as men and women for others, so that they can then go out in the community, and after developing that personal relationship with the Lord, then they can use that as the foundation to provide the leadership. So we're going deeper than simply trying to provide programming on how to be a good board member. We're really going to forming the person and how to help them become enriched so that they can then give back.
How will programming impact the community?
And so the impact of that is really profound. The impact allows people to be more deeply who they are. And anytime there's a group of people who do that, that multiplies out and ripples out into making us a much stronger and a much better community.
Why JRH as the center?
And so this could be a place for meetings. It could be a place for ongoing training and development. It could be a call for people to different leaders and board members and presidents to come together. So the possibilities are really quite endless. And the exciting part for me is that it's really in many ways just beginning now. And so there's a recognition that the different skills and abilities of these different apostolates coming together could cause a lot of positive energy and really be multiplied throughout the region.
Why do we need to invest in human capital?
You have to invest the resources in the human capital, because that's really what we're talking about here, not bricks and mortar like a lot of the capital campaigns. We're talking about investing in human capital locally at JRH, which then will invest in human capital to develop the lay leaders. And so it is an investment, and it is, in my mind, the most important investment that we need to make. Make no mistake, the bricks and mortar and having state-of-the-art facilities are important. But if we don't have the right people in those positions providing the lay leadership, then we've failed our mission. And so it's important to reach out to the lay leaders, ask them to support this, and understand that it is a critical time. And we can't delay and keep putting this off, that we need to take action now, and that we need their support, both in person and financially, their time, treasure, and their talents. I'm thankful that the Retreat House is going to get out front and understand that we need Ignatian partners, and that it takes time to form men and women for others, and that it's a lifelong process. But I have no doubt we'll accomplish the goal.
The Jesuit Retreat House, a place of peace and serenity in a chaotic world. A place that has helped so many find calm and new beginnings. A place that adds value to the community and helps all that enter through its doors. The Jesuit Retreat House. Help us serve all of God's children.
The Jesuit Retreat House is probably best described in two ways. One, it is close enough to the city environment that people can get there, and you never lose a sense of the reality of the world from which you came. And therefore, there's a component of actuality, of concreteness, that presses against the grounds and the place. But at the same time, there is a seclusion, both because of the nature and the beauty of the surrounding territory, the quiet of the house, and the focused energies of everybody in that retreat house on reflection, consideration, that spiritual rumination that we were talking about. Coming to the Jesuit Retreat House and having apprehension is probably a healthy thing. Why? Because if you're going before the mystery of your life, if you're really going to look at what makes you tick spiritually, if you're really going to look at what's life-giving and loving in who you are, that's a very dangerous adventure. And you don't know what the answer is going to be. But you know sometimes that when you do it, that entrance will allow you to begin to see what has really developed as being important in who you are. And it really will challenge some of the things that along the way you thought were important, but really you find that sometimes they take away from your life. What is life all about? It's not simply about the fact that I can have more and more possession. It's really about I can have richer and deeper relationship. And somehow I want to reassess and redirect my life. Well, who wouldn't be a little scared about looking at yourself? Everybody is. If you really want to go into a situation and take an honest look and really surrender to what is the deepest value of your heart, that takes some courage. There's always a basic question. Here's a Jesuit retreat house. Therefore, is there some kind of visible sign for Catholics only? There really isn't. I think the spirit of the Jesuit order is, from its very foundation, ecumenical in the best sense of that term. Of course there's a Catholic foundation. I mean, I'm a priest. I can't be anything else but a Catholic priest. That's who I am. But I'm a Catholic priest with a style of ministry that believes genuinely that God's everywhere. And I think the Jesuit way is to say, God is greater than any denomination. I might believe that the Catholic experience is the experience that God has given for me to grow in my life. But I don't deprive that same experience for a Jew or a Muslim or a Protestant or a Buddhist. God is greater than any denomination. And I think that there is an expansiveness and generosity of acceptance that has to reflect the acceptance and the generosity and the goodness of God, or you're not genuinely religious. So of course it's under Catholic auspices, but it's not under Catholic restriction. It's as wide as the heart of God.
For me, when I think of the impact the Jesuit Retreat House has had on me, and those experiences in particular that stick out are for my 40th birthday. I gave myself a weekend of silent directed retreat, and I was directed by a laywoman here, and it was a wonderful experience, and I think sort of a turning point for me spiritually. Since then, I attended the Ignatian Spirituality Institute at John Carroll, and they hold their yearly retreats here. And again, every time, those experiences and every time I come here, it's just faith affirming and faith deepening. The Jesuit Retreat House is synonymous with the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius, and how they have impacted my life is very significant. If you know anything about the spiritual exercises, they kind of lead to an inner conversion. And I think looking back on where I've been in my faith journey and where I am now, I would say that that is, definitely the effect they've had on me. Right now I'm involved in the early phases of the Jesuit Retreat House Parish Outreach Program. It's a brand new program for the Retreat House, and it entails bringing a 9-week adaptation of the exercises to the parishes. So it's going on site, it's spreading the message, taking it from the Retreat House to where people are. For those people who don't know where the Retreat House is, who would never even imagine taking time out to do something like this, and for whom it's very difficult to take time out. The idea is to bring that experience of the exercises in a format that's very manageable and very doable to the parishes. And so that's what I'm involved in right now, and it's very exciting. You see the scales falling from people's eyes, you see their faith coming alive, you see the spiritual community in the parishes, just awakening in a way that it hadn't been for a while. I think anything that brings people to a more personal, heartfelt knowledge of Jesus Christ in their lives is everything. It's everything to the community. That's what transforms communities. And I believe that that's what the Jesuit Retreat House is all about.
I see the transformative effect that retreats here have had on the hundreds, if not thousands, of young men from St. Ignatius High School, and not exclusively St. Ignatius, but other high school retreats that are conducted here and parish retreats that are conducted here. And you see, again, the multiplier effect throughout the community, especially in these young men's lives, many of whom make career decisions to be involved in social service or even religious life based on what happens here. So, it's bread on the water that gets spread out throughout the entire Northeast Ohio community and beyond.